Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks, we're back with you. We've been waiting for this. We got Bob Mauldin on with us from Expedition, Texas. How are you, brother?
How's it going? I just received a message about 2 seconds ago from a guy who said no driving on the video. I'm sorry, I'm breaking the rules.
I love it. Pull him up there where we can see him. There you go. Now we're talking. Now, wait a minute. Now, you're from Texas. Where's your cowboy hat at?
It doesn't fit in the truck, man.
Oh, so but you do have one, right?
I do have one, yeah. I don't know that I'd call it a cowboy hat because I haven't cowboyed at all. I don't. You don't want to see me on a horse. It's scary.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not on it very long. It kind of throws me off. But anyway, but you got a lot going on, man. Tell everybody out here listening, and y'all can tune into the Stephen Phillips with the Morning Edition on YouTube and see how pretty this guy is. But yeah, tell us, you have got a lot of stuff going on, man.
March is a busy month, man, and just trying to make it through and come out on the other piece alive. We got new season of the TV show Expedition Texas, which is going to be premiering on the weekend of the 19th on all the stations that air, including there probably is even stations in your area on Heartland TV Network, which gets us nationwide. And then Expedition Texas is, of course, on syndicated on stations in Texas as well. But also, because I'm crazy, I decided I wanted to also try to release an album at that time. So a brand new album coming out, because I also sing and write songs. I was actually doing that long before Expedition Texas came along. And so decided every now and then I go back and kind of revisit that a little bit and have some fun with it. So we've got a band together, and toward the end of the month, we'll also start touring. So a lot to do.
Well, that is good, man. I love your music, man. I checked it out, and you know, your country, there ain't no doubt, and you know, a lot of good music coming out of Texas right now. And one of the things you find out, that a lot of people that's on TV, actors and all that kind of stuff, are musicians to start with. You know, even like Joe Pesci, he hated acting, but he loved music, and it just goes right on down the line. So that's good. But this,
have you
do what?
Costner?
Do what?
Have you heard Kevin Costner?
Oh yeah.
It's blowing my mind how many of these guys like Kevin Bacon, Billy Bob Thornton, they all have bands. In fact, Billy Bob Thornton is playing right here in our neck of the woods coming up in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we had Jack Williams on the other day. He actually wrote a lot of songs for Kevin Costner. He's got a couple of them on that Yellowstone series. But yeah, awesome. And Billy Bob, I think Billy Bob's going to be in Georgia this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's south, I think.
Yeah. I've seen Bruce Willis with his band, literally live in person. He's got a full-blown rock band. Bruce Willis. I'm dead serious.
No.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah, but like, he's another one of these guys. I'll tell you another one you'd never believe. Stephen King, the author. He was in a rock band for years. He sure was. Yeah.
Well, I'm in a country band, but I ain't got anything to brag about. But other than that,
show.
Hey man, I gotta ask you. Okay, we're talking about this Expedition Texas, and I've been watching a little bit of that, keeping up with you, and see what's going on. Y'all went looking for Bigfoot in Texas. What's the scoop on that?
Okay, that was a half-hearted attempt to look for Bigfoot, and there's a fun behind-the-scenes story in that. So, Jeff, who is, I believe, an expert in cryptozoology, Bigfoot, and all the Chupacabra family, all those folks out there in the woods. And Jeff actually has up-close experiences that he shared with us on that episode. But we were there just to get the idea of what it would be like to go on one of these Bigfoot hunts. It was also November, I believe, when we shot that.
Right.
And first freeze of the year happened. And what our idea of he told us we have a house, you know, we're going to stay in a house. It's going to be nice. So we get out there, though, and the house is basically, you know, if you have like a deer camp, you sort of
know all about it.
Trailer or whatever, and it doesn't really matter. You just bundle up and sleep. Well, this house was a hollowed out brick house. No windows or anything. It was just a hollowed out brick house, and no walls. There was a fireplace, and if you were in 3 feet of the fireplace, you could get a little warm. But we were in this house, and it that night fell down below freezing, and we had brought a few blankets, and we were planning to stay the next day and just kind of hang out with him and maybe go, you know, check out the woods again and get some more shots for the TV show. But we were about midnight, and I kept hearing the guys, the crew was there too, and we all had air mattresses that kept deflating onto the cold concrete floor, and I kept hearing them rustle around, and I kept having to get up, turn on the pump to air my mattress up. Miserable, because the fire, there was no way unless we were going to cuddle up, which we weren't going to do.
Being you're from Texas, I'm with you on that.
No, that wasn't going to work. There was no way other than all of us grown men cuddling that we were going to stay warm.
Right.
So about 3 o'clock in the morning, I let the air out of my mattress all the way, told the guys to get theirs and pack them up, and we snuck out. I did go by and kind of tap Jeff on the shoulder and say, hey, man, we're out. And we left.
I don't blame you, man. It's too cold. But you know, that's the thing about Bigfoot, man. We actually have a Bigfoot museum here.
It's called Expedition Bigfoot, oddly enough.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great museum.
But now, Packy's got a theory on Bigfoot, because every picture you see of Bigfoot, it's always blurry. And he thinks Bigfoot's blurry by nature. It's not really the photo.
Maybe he's just, because he's so fuzzy, maybe it's a light trick.
Yeah.
You know, when you see him from a certain distance, he just looks blurry.
Yeah, I'm with you. So now on this expedition, how long you been doing this?
This fall will be our 10th year. We start our 10th year this fall, and we're going back and revisiting places that we went to in our first year, because some of them, it's kind of crazy. Some of them are probably have fallen down now.
Right.
And some of them have actually been restored and are back to being functioning places that you can, like hotels you can go stay in now. So that's something that happens. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, 10 years starting this fall.
Well, that's unreal, man. And I know, of course, everybody's falling in love with Texas because they're actually standing up for what's right. There's no doubt. And if y'all ever succeed from the union, I'm going to move to Texas. So if you got an extra bedroom,
you're invited.
Yeah.
That's just it, Bob. You know, I actually lived in Texas when I was a kid, and then as in my working life, have been based out there a few times. And Texas, you guys have such a great spirit. Everyone loves Texas, and Texans are so proud of their state. Tell everybody what makes Texas so great.
Well, you know, it's funny. You don't realize what you have until you go somewhere else, right? And so I've never been out of Texas more than a week in my life.
Right.
But those weeks were long, because you get out of Texas and you realize that not everybody has the pride in their state that they do. Not everybody. I mean, there's really no other music that if you're saying, you know, hey, this is my genre of music, you don't go to Delaware and they say, hey, we've got, you know, the Delaware music scene. It's great.
I can vouch for that. I used to live in Delaware too.
So there's I don't know, and Texas almost kind of takes on its own brand, you know, and people even overseas, when you send music over there and they know it's from Texas, for some reason it has a little more credibility as a country song coming from Texas, and I don't understand what makes that, but I do understand what makes a person proud of Texas.
No kidding. I'm watching my girl and I. We were watching Dallas the other day. There was a scene. They actually filmed this over in this particular thing over in Austria, and the actor walks up to JR and says, "Oh my gosh, you're Americans." He goes, "No, we're Texans." I mean, and that sums it up right there.
Yeah.
That attitude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's exactly right. And I have no problem telling somebody I'm from Texas. And you know, we were in New York City about a month ago. My wife and I went there, and it's funny, people can, and I don't think I have that much of an accent, but people can figure it out. Even now, you know, I did about nearly 20 years in radio, and you're supposed to try to sound non-regional on the radio, but in Texas at a certain point we just give up.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that's starting to come back, and I find you know, I grew up in Canton, Texas, and my wife and I both did, and occasionally we'll be talking and something will slip out, like, I ain't gonna do that, or you know, something will slip out and we'll say, oop, our Canton came out, you know, but my Canton comes out all the time.
I'm with you.
And it's just the Texas thing.
You know, we went to the Amish country back a few years back, me and my wife did, and they've got a place up there that you eat, and they set everybody at one table. So we're sitting there with people from California, New York, and all over, and I could not eat for them every time I try to eat, they're like, say something else. We want to hear you talk. Say something else, you know, because I got this. Right. I think Southern accent's the sexiest accent in the world myself.
Well, even the Beach Boys said that in their song.
There you go. Yeah,
that's right.
No doubt. So now you've got. I know you're working on a new album. We're a little bit ahead of the time on that, but tell us when is it going to be out? What's it going to be called? Do you know yet?
Well, it's called Colfax 1985. That's about the place I grew up, and it's going to drop on March 25th. We have the first single from it is coming out on March 18th because that was my grandmother's birthday. The song is about her. And so we're dropping the single on March 18th, and the rest of the album will be available on the 25th. And that's pretty much anywhere you can get music. I can't really name them all, but I use a distributor that gets you to pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, just go to the Google. I guarantee it. But now you're a singer and songwriter. I think that's cool.
Yeah, so 90% of the stuff on the album is all stuff that I wrote. The last album was 100% my stuff, and used to do a lot more covers. On the Van Zandt County Line album, which came out in 2011. It was about half and half. The record label that I was on at that time liked covers, but now I'm on my own label, and it doesn't matter what they think.
There you go. I'm with you on that. That opens the door up. And I'm going to tell you, that red dirt country coming out of Texas right now is hot, especially after Yellowstone and all that, man. It is just blazing. Yeah, it's
so cool to hear, stuff that we thought was just kind of ours and we wish the rest of the world could discover. You watch Yellowstone and it's like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like that Bingham. What's his name? Bingham is on there. I've listened to his music forever, and then there he was. And it didn't dawn on me that's who that was till about the fourth episode. I thought, well, wait a minute, I know who that dude is.
It took me longer than that, man. It took me. I was thinking that when he I don't know which season it is. He actually comes back, and the old dude that busted up his guitar, he brings him a new guitar.
Right.
And he starts playing. I'm like, man, this guy, I wonder if he's ever had any music out because he sure plays and sings well.
Right.
And then I looked up as Ryan Bingham. I'm like, Ryan Bingham? I knew Ryan Bingham. I knew his music, but yeah, it's just seeing him in that role and then kind of thinking, man, that guy should play. And then you go look up and he's been playing all along.
But I found out after that he was actually in a movie with Jeff Bridges on that country movie he did. What was that called where Jeff Bridges did
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, I can't think of the name of it, but I love it because it kind of reminds me of Billy Joe Shaver.
Yeah.
I developed a friendship with Billy Joe Shaver in probably the last 10 years or so of his life, and he recorded a song with me, one of his old songs called Ride Me Down Easy.
Oh, I love Billy Joe Shaver, man.
There's a funny story about that involves my last radio job, my very last radio job. I had been shown the door at the radio station, but prior to that, I had met Billy Joe at a show, and we had talked about doing this recording of Ride Me Down Easy. And he just told me, whenever I'm in the area, I will let you know, and I'll swing by the radio station and we'll record it.
Right.
And so, anyway, that had been months prior. And so anyway, I got fired from the radio station. About 2 nights later, Billy Joe calls and says, hey, I'm coming through Athens, Texas right now. I'm pretty close to you. Want me to swing by and do that part? And I'm thinking, I'm going to blow this chance just because. And so I started calling studios that I knew, trying to get a hold of the owners there. We only have like 3 or 4 in the Tyler area. And then I didn't have a studio at home anymore at that point. So I'm panicking and trying to figure out how I can get in the radio station, but I have no key card, no anything anymore, right? And so my son is kind of kicked back on the couch and he says, what about Bruce? And Bruce was this one DJ that they had on the weekends that went on the air and basically pretty much slammed the radio station for letting me go. I was the morning show host.
Right.
And, so he went on the air, and then he got in trouble for it, but they couldn't do anything to him. He's not on contract. He's a part-timer, and they need him.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't fire him. So I called him, and he said, yeah, I'll meet you up there, and I'll meet, while I get to meet Billy Joe Shaver. And I said, heck yeah, we're sneaking him in the radio station. So we met up at the radio station in the middle of the night. We left all the lights off and snuck us into the studio. We got in there, and we turned the lights on, recorded the song right quick, just did his vocal singing along with the track we had done in the studio.
Right.
Got down, turned all the lights off, snuck out the back, and we showed him the way to 271. He went on to Nashville. I went home and went to bed, and we sent the vocal to the studio, and mixed it in there, and that's how I got my duet with Billy Joe Shaver. And I haven't been able to really tell that story, but it's been about 10 years now, so I'm not worried about them saying anything or doing anything.
There you go. I'm going to tell you, man, I am
That's
a
awesome.
big Billy Joe Shaver fan, and I don't know if you keep up with Jeremy Lynn Woodall or not, but, he's got some cool stuff, man. Because he played with him for a long time. But that's the thing about a radio. When I first took this show over, the first thing I did when I walked in was thanked everybody for letting me be on the show and told everybody goodbye. Because when they fire you from radio, you don't get to tell all your fans goodbye. So I did it right on the get-go. Yeah, I did it right on I said, it's been great. I appreciate y'all. Because when they fire you, man, it's done. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the times that it's been done that I've been around. It's always like they're there one day and not the next, and then the fallout from the listeners after that is like you have to manage that, and there's nothing worse than being the one that takes over for the one that got fired.
Right.
That's no fun.
Yeah, they fire me regularly, but they can't find nobody else that's dumb enough to come in here and do what I do. So here I am. But anyway,
yeah,
man, we have got to get to break. Can you tell everybody how to get up with you and follow you on all the stuff that you've got going on?
Well, we have websites for everything that'll kind of take you to all the social media and YouTube. So BobMauldin.com, that's BOBMAULDIN.com for music, and for Expedition Texas, which I think everybody's going to really enjoy, is ExpeditionTexas.tv. And that'll send you you can get to the YouTube channel from there. We're on Facebook. We got a lot of great followers on Facebook, and we're kind of tying the music and Expedition Texas together for this coming season and promoting both one way and the other. And so it'll all be pretty accessible, especially on Facebook.
All right, man. Well, I sure appreciate it. Now you're a singer-songwriter. I wrote a couple of songs. I got one I try to pitch to everybody, but so far no good. But it's real popular down here, but it's a song about dating your cousin. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in cutting or not.
I don't know. I got a couple of cousins that have hit on me, but I
There you go.
maybe it'll work out there.
That's your song. Is she first or second, right? Like first or second cousin? That one, right? That's a good one.
Bob, you've been good, man. You've been good. I appreciate you. We keep up with you, and thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Great.
Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.